In Season 9, Episode 17 of The Office, Dwight Schrute famously utters the following line. People underestimate the power of nostalgia. Nostalgia is truly one of the greatest human weaknesses, second only to the neck. He's not wrong, and Hollywood seems to be on a never-ending quest to monetize said nostalgia. And Freakier Friday is definitely another journey on that quest. But it isn't all just about nostalgia. There was a very clear effort in this movie to try to get Gen Z on board. How did they do that? By making the original plot even more convoluted, throwing in daughters, stepdaughters, stepsisters, and grandmothers. But does it work? What up, guys? I'm Pete. I'm an actor, I'm a filmmaker, and I love movies. Welcome to the channel. If you're new, hit subscribe. If you're not new, hit that like button and hit that notifications button so that you can find my next movie review. So Freaky Friday is the original 2003 movie where a feuding mother and daughter switch bodies under a magic spell and have to literally learn to walk a mile in each other's shoes, and capturing the magic of teenage angst pitted versus parental responsibility. And now Disney, running on the fumes of live-action remakes and sequels, adds yet another sequel into the mix. But the Disney executives seem to know that getting millennials to watch this movie wasn't going to be enough. I imagine the pitch meeting going something like this. Okay, so we bring back Lindsay Lohan together with Jamie Lee Curtis. It's her big screen return. All the millennials that grew up with Lindsay and remember the original are now going to be able to relate to her parental struggles as a single mom, and they're going to go watch this movie. It's a slam dunk. Okay, but we need more than millennials to watch this film. How do we get Gen Z involved? I don't know. Well, if you want to get this movie made, you're going to have to think of something. Okay, so what if we make Anna a single mom, and in the first 5 minutes of the movie, she falls in love with a single dad who has a daughter the same age as her daughter, and then over the course of time, Anna switches bodies with her daughter, while her daughter is feuding with her stepsister, who's now Anna's stepdaughter, and the stepsister slash stepdaughter will switch bodies with Jamie Lee Curtis, the grandmother. Meanwhile, they all work together to either stop or not stop the wedding between Anna and the stepdaughter slash stepsister's father, and maybe they learn to get along the way. Oh yeah, and there's also a Gen Z singer that Anna manages who breaks up with her boyfriend early on, and we use her as a plot device to get everybody up on stage for that big nostalgia moment like we saw in the first movie. That's brilliant! Easy to follow, and will grab as much of our targeted demographic as possible. Greenlit! So that's basically the plot. This was one of those movies that just felt forced, especially in the first two acts. Cringy humor, generational stereotypes, and just too much trying to force a storyline that nobody really asked for. Stick around to the end of the video where I go on a little rant of what is wrong with Hollywood these days. But in the meantime, let's talk about what I liked about this movie. The first was that all the characters came back. And I mean literally every character from the first movie came back, including the Chinese lady who had had the spell in the first movie makes an appearance. Anna's bandmates come back. Jake, the boyfriend from the movie, makes a comeback. Jamie Lee Curtis's husband is back. Literally everyone is back. And as a nostalgia gimmick, it was nice to see that, because 20 years later, they're all still around. Maybe they were acting, maybe they weren't. I'm guessing a lot of them were, but they're all back, and that was kind of cool. Lindsay Lohan is back. It was kind of cool to see Lindsay Lohan, after the multiple struggles that she's been through, make it back to her big screen debut, and that was refreshing and something that you root for. There were a few chuckles. Not many. And there were no laughs, they were chuckles. From time to time. I was in a packed theater when I watched it, and I think I only heard 3 chuckles throughout the movie, but never a real laugh out loud moment. And the chuckles mostly came from the small supporting characters. The final act is also pretty heartwarming, even though it drags through the first 2 acts, and I wanted to leave the theater. They did a pretty decent job of tying it all together in the final act with some good, nostalgic, heartwarming moments about family and love and blah, 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 blah. Not that these are bad things, it just really felt like Hollywood was trying to tug at your heartstrings. Come on, guys. We're all about love and family, and it's just like, okay, maybe just tell us a good story. What didn't I like? Oh my God. Pretty much everything I said so far. But there was another thing. The British accents. Ooh. Manny Jacinto, who's Canadian, and Sophia Hammonds, who's American, played the stepdaughter and stepfather in the movie, and for some reason that God only knows, they had to be British. Both of their British accents were appalling. I apologize to any of my British friends or subscribers watching this movie, because they were bad. Just hire British actors, or hire American actors who can do a British accent and don't slip into an American accent every third word. It kind of felt like a theater kid learning to do the British accent for a first time, where everything is so overpronounced and slow and so obviously fake. It just took me right out of it. The acting was also not good. Jamie Lee Curtis was the only one that I genuinely believed, and she always pops on screen. Everyone else just felt like they were trying too hard, and it didn't feel natural. It didn't feel like real human behavior in imaginary circumstances, which is what good acting is. So the acting is terrible. Now you can say, oh, maybe we don't need good acting really for this kind of a movie. No, you need believable acting. You don't need Daniel Day-Lewis, but you need to believe that the characters are actually feeling what they're supposed to be feeling and not putting it on. And the whole movie, it felt like everybody was like, all right, I'm supposed to be sad in this moment. That's how bad it was. Overall, they made yet another movie that nobody really asked for or wanted. It was a bad idea to begin with, and then it was executed poorly, which made it even worse. And that right there is the problem with Hollywood. Since the beginning of time, since we were sitting around a campfire and carving images into rocks, our caveman ancestors told stories. Stories have always been about passing down culture, about stoking the need for human imagination and creativity. But Hollywood has become a numbers machine, where they basically crank out sequels and remakes and try to squeeze every last drop of juice out of stories that nobody really asked for, that they think people want, and they just don't. Well, Pete, Hollywood is still a business. They still have to make money. Yes, you know how you make money? Good, interesting, original storytelling that grabs our imagination, that keeps us the entire time, that has us staring at the screen in awe, the way that so many great movies in the past and even in the present have done. But this was so clearly a cash grab movie where you couldn't even really enjoy the storyline, not only because of the bad acting, but because the writing was filled with little twists and lines and tropes that were clearly the marketing team being like, oh, we need to have more jokes about how millennials and Gen Z can't relate to each other. That'll get some lulz. What's new and trendy? Look on TikTok and see if we can throw whatever new trend is in there, because then it will be relatable and will hit our target demographics. Leave the tropes and the stereotypes and the pandering to a demographic to the side and just tell a good story. That's what's successful. That's all everyone wants. Anyway, I'm giving this movie a 4 out of 10 because a poor idea was executed poorly, and despite a redeeming third act, it is not worth your time or money to go see it in the theater. If you want to see it, it'll come out on Disney+. It's something to throw on in the background while you're folding laundry or doing the taxes, but it isn't worth your full attention. And if you want to skip it altogether, you won't miss much. That's it from me, guys. Thanks for watching. Let me know in the comments what you thought of Freaky Friday, and let me know what movie you want me to review next.